Hey folks, welcome back to Canada's Boxing Channel. I figured I'd upload this video, or make this video rather, in between a couple of my jobs. Just been to the garbage dump, and now I'm going to run a brush hog for a little while. Yeah, it's one thing when you live basically on the edge of the wilderness. The wilderness doesn't necessarily like the fact you're living here. Anyhow, I saw something else this morning, and the first thing I thought is great. And then I thought, ooh, I'm not too sure. And what I'm talking about is that the WBO has ordered Oleksandr Usyk to defend his WBO title against Joseph Parker. Apparently, there's a 30-day window in which to get this all sorted out. Now, that's a good news story because I fall into the camp where, as far as I'm concerned, you're just one guy's opinion, you can have your own. I think that Joseph Parker or Agit are really the only two guys who deserve a crack at Oleksandr Usyk. And it happens to be that the WBO is the first, so that sort of based on this sort of, queuing mentality, or it's his turn, well, that's Joseph Parker, right? I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be remotely disappointed if by the magic of whatever makes boxing tick these days, they said Agit Kabayel. Because actually, I think that would actually be the better fight, just from my own opinion, than Joseph Parker. But it's Joseph Parker's turn. WBO is next in rotation, and so Joseph Parker is being called. I also think he deserves this based on his recent form. He beat Zhilei Zhang and he beat Deontay Wilder, and of course, something that still sticks in my craw is Daniel Dubois, for whatever reason, didn't fight Joseph Parker. The official narrative, as we know, is that Daniel Dubois got ill. But there was so much mystery around this, and there were so many mutually exclusive statements made that many of us, myself of course, were left thinking, and there's all sorts of rumors out there, did he pee hot? Did he duck? Did he know that the Usyk fight was ready and therefore he didn't want to jeopardize his chance? Was he really ill? I mean, there's all sorts of things. But again, the obfuscation made skeptical or cynical guys like me wonder, what's really going on here? Anyhow, we will never know. But regardless, my view is that Joe Parker kind of deserves this shot, Well, all well and good, you might say. What are you beating your gums about? The fight's going to take place. Well, the other thing I saw is that Sela and Riyadh season are not interested in this fight. I'm guessing, and again, I know, I talk about this all the time, boxing is a sport, entertainment, and business. And I can only surmise that the bean counters somewhere are saying, the Parker fight doesn't make as much, blah, 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 spreadsheet mania. And as much as we think, oh, well, the Saudis don't care about that, I suspect that they do. Anyhow, if for reasons that again will never be really explained to us, Oleksandr Usyk decides not to honor the commitment that the WBO is mandating, I suppose he would surrender his belt. And then I suppose it would either be gifted to Joe Parker, or would Joe Parker have to fight somebody for it? One way or the other. But Joe Parker would then still be denied a crack at the best heavyweight in the world, which I believe that Joe Parker is one of those fighters who wants that sort of legacy. Like, sure, he could beat somebody else and be WBO world champion, but that's not quite the same, I'm thinking, as challenging the very best in the world. Now, do I think that Joe Parker would beat Oleksandr Usyk? Actually, no, I don't. I don't at all. I think he might do better. In fact, I'm quite certain he would do a lot better than Daniel Dubois. Styles make fights. I'm not saying that Daniel Dubois would lose to Joe Parker, but we know it doesn't work like that, right? It's more like rock, paper, scissors than anything else. Do I think Joe Parker would beat Oleksandr Usyk? No, I don't. But I do really think he deserves a chance. And I'd like to see it held somewhere other than, the usual suspects. Wembley, Riyadh. It'd be awesome if it could be held in Australasia. Or maybe with Jai Opataya on an undercard. Like, it could be spectacular, and it could be good for world boxing. That's my view. Really, I already know what my view is. I'd really like to know what your view is. But yeah, and I have to say, and as you know, I'm a huge Usyk fan. If Usyk chooses not to fight Joe Parker, that'll be a little bit of a demerit in my mind. Not that he'd give a shit what I think, but it would be. I'd be disappointed. I'd be disappointed in him as a fighter, and it would just be disappointing. What my gut tells me is he'll pass on Joe Parker, surrender the belt. Parker will go off and do something. Usyk is going to fight Fury for the 3rd time. And then if he beats Fury, he's going to look to Joe Parker to see if he can become 3-time undisputed heavyweight champion of the world and 4-time undisputed boxing champion. That's what I think. Though, just a guess, right? Personally, while I think a strong argument can be made that Tyson Fury gave Oleksandr Usyk his toughest fight at heavyweight, I think Breedis has given him his toughest fight ever. But, there were a few rounds, what would you say, 5, 6, 7 in the first fight, where Usyk looked like he was really being put under pressure. More so than he was against AJ or against Derek Chisora or certainly against Triple D. But yeah, I would be disappointed if he fights Fury again. I just don't think that Fury deserves it. I know it's an old-fashioned concept, but if you throw your toys out of the pram, have a retirement, give it all the boo-hoo in the world, I was robbed, I was effed without Vaseline, but I take it like a man. Well, obviously you're not taking it like a man if you're running your mouth, complaining. I just don't think he's deserving. And I absolutely would say the same thing about AJ. He's not deserving either. But hey, your mileage may vary, as they say. Let me know in the comments section what you think. Will Joseph Parker get his just desserts, or will Joseph Parker be cast aside and have to fight somebody else for a vacant WBO? Really interested to know what you all think. That's all for the moment. Time to go and run a brush hog, which, I shouldn't have ever told my wife I was retired. Maybe I would have been given less tasks to do. Thanks so much for watching. Of course, I am only joking. I've a very, very, very understanding domestic team leader. I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Please like, please share, and please subscribe if you can, and if you haven't yet done so. Cheers. Bye-bye.